and bringing a little bit of you or some of you to whatever character it is that you're playing, so important, because that's what's going to differentiate from you and the other person. Like me and you could be reading the same lines, but we're going to bring something completely different because your life experiences and my life experiences are so different.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in the world when you receive this podcast. My name is Jabir McKnight, and I'm your host of Spark. Today, I'm joined by Amanda Hunt, an actor, writer, and filmmaker. In 2023, she made her television debut on the Hulu original series Saint X, and she's a Howard alumnus. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to dive into your story. You're the first actress that we've had on the pod.
Yeah.
And we have a great audience of students, professionals, and industry leaders. And I think your perspective on, where the industry currently is, your story, how you got into it will really shed a lot of light on what it takes.
Okay.
Not just takes to get in, what it takes to sustain, the pivots that you have to make along the way.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk. Yeah. Because I know a lot of people who have not stayed in. It's not easy. It's not easy.
All right. Well, let's start with your story. What first pulled you into the world of entertainment and storytelling?
Okay.
What was that moment, that aha moment that set you on the path?
All right, honestly, I'm going to bring it all the way back. So I'm Jamaican. I was born and raised in Jamaica. And when I was little, growing up, That's So Raven on Disney Channel was my everything. Raven Simone, that show really molded me a lot. And when I used to watch her, I said, I'm going to do that. I wanted nothing more than to be on Disney Channel. And from that time, at that age, I said, I'm doing this and I'm never gonna stop. I was determined. I just knew that this is what I had to do. And I'm somebody who, when I set my mind to something, I can't stop. Like I have to see it through. So that was my boom, my aha moment.
I actually loved That's So Raven growing up.
Yeah.
I had a crush on Raven Simone.
Stop.
She was just so good in that role, and the family just was amazing. It was a great family structure. So like walk me through like your educational journey.
Yeah.
Did you always know like, oh, I'm going to study the arts?
So I wanted to. When I came to America, I came here just in time for middle school. And I wanted to go to a performing arts high school, but my mother said no. Because New York has a lot of performing arts high schools. So I wanted to try, and she was like, no, you're in America, you have to do something that makes sense, doctor, nurse, all of these things. I was so upset at that time, but I'm older now and I get it. I understand. She just wanted to protect me. And she didn't get it. She was an immigrant. She didn't understand what would happen to me if I were to pursue the arts. I went to high school, and luckily for me, the high school that my mother chose had a theater arts program. So I was able to do theater there, and shout outs to Miss Morrison, Amy Morrison from Hillcrest High School. I love her forever. She saw me walking on the hallway one day and she knew I was interested in theater, and she just said, hey, Amanda, come audition for this show. I was like, huh? Come audition for this show? I was like, okay. And then I auditioned for my very first musical. Child, we did Rent. It was so much fun. I got a theater bug. And then I went on to study theater at community college at QCC. And then I went on to study theater, and I got my BFA in theater arts with a concentration in acting from the illustrious Howard University. And I'm still learning today. Like I'm still taking classes. I'm still doing everything I can. So yeah, I'm still in school, I guess you could say.
I love that. Pulling on a thread that you said that, Miss Morrison, that was her name, right?
Yeah.
You said that she knew that you wanted to get into acting, so she pulled you in. How did she know? How did that conversation come about?
So when I got into Hillcrest, when I got into Hillcrest, I got into the theater program, and I was supposed to be in the theater program. But they also had this other program called Newcomers for people who are new to the country. And I was still very fresh off the boat. I was fresh in this country, honey. So they put me in that program as well. And they were like, you have to be in this. And I'm like, I speak English. I don't have to be in the program. But yeah, they didn't get it. So Miss Morrison knew that I was supposed to be in the theater arts program, but I had to be in the other program. So she took me under her wing, and I'm so glad. It was a wonderful wing. She was like a guardian angel for me when I was in high school. And that theater arts program, I want to say it really saved my life. It was my comfort. It really was.
So how has, situations like that have also assisted you as you've gotten older in terms of not just mentorship, that's what I heard, but also letting it be known to those around you what you want to do. So when something comes across their table, they know to reach out to you. That's a lesson that I think a lot of people
Yeah.
miss sometimes. You have to let the world know sometimes what you
Yes.
want.
I was just thinking about this the other day, but maybe not in those exact words, but it's the same thing. I was like, you got to teach people how to treat you. You got to let them know what to call you, who you want to be. And you're so right. And I guess that's one of those things you're asking how I do that now. Like how, okay, so possibly I would say with social media, I use social media quite a bit, not as much as I used to, which is saying a lot because I still use it a lot, but I use it a lot, and I like to remind people, hey, I'm an actor. Even though you see me with so many different interests, I'm doing all these different things because I'm a multifaceted person. But remember, I'm an actor. These are the things I can do, and my website is here. My resume is there. One of the pinned posts on my account is me saying a monologue at a monologue stand because I want when people to go on my page, the first thing they should see is boom, yeah, she's doing this, and yeah, all these things. So I am very, very, very adamant. I think it's so important that you tell people what you want to do. And that has helped me. It has helped me because I've received a lot of DMs and messages from people in the industry saying, oh, can you come audition for this thing? Or I'd love for you to be a part of this thing, and build so many connections, genuine connections with real people who want to collaborate and want to build up this community.
I love that. I love that. And I think, just for listeners out there, it's not about going viral. It's not
No.
about reaching 100 million people, making sure that you put yourself out there because you never know who that one viewer knows.
It just takes one. It really, yeah, that's so true. It just takes one.
So walk me through just being not only a Black woman, but first gen and, the entertainment industry. How does your identity shape the roles in which you either create or choose to be a part of? And what does it look like to bring your full self to work?
Ah, well, wow, I love this. I will say that, well, for me, when I'm creating, always, I always create characters who are Jamaican, who are from the Caribbean, but I focus on Jamaica because those are the stories that I like to see when I'm watching television. And recently, I think there has been like a boom in Caribbean people on TV, on mainstream television, and in film. But before, when I was like, I want to be an actor, I wasn't seeing any of it. And when I did see them, it was never authentic unless it was coming straight from that island. And that doesn't normally happen, and it doesn't normally reach the mainstream. So it's something that I want to do when I'm creating and bringing my whole self to the character. I use influences from my life. I mean, my one person show Coconuts that I wrote for my senior thesis when I was at Howard was about me coming to America and realizing that everything isn't like what I saw in That's So Raven. And contrary to my popular belief, everything in America doesn't actually cost $19.99. So I mean, that's what I thought when I was watching those commercials. So it's using everything that I have, and I try to bring my fullest self to everything that I do because I like to use my experiences most of the times. It helps me tap into that character, and bringing a little bit of you or some of you too, whatever character it is that you're playing, so important because that's what's going to differentiate from you and the other person. You know, like me and you could be reading the same lines, but we're going to bring something completely different because your life experiences and my life experiences are so different.
Absolutely. I mean, when you were talking about representation, who
Mm-hmm.
comes to mind immediately is Cheryl Lee Ralph.
God,
Yeah, she is absolutely amazing in
I
an
love her so much.
industry giant. I didn't even know. I didn't know she was
Yes,
Caribbean
yeah,
until like 2 years ago.
yeah. And I love when her accent pops out on Abbott. I'm like, there it
I
is.
love it. I love it. And that representation, it matters. It
Mhm.
matters a lot. And I think it's good to, hear that from you.
Yeah.
We see Hollywood is changing, or at least trying to change. And there's a lot of um, the roles that are chosen, how they're crafted, it's shifting. What challenges have you faced despite these outward facing changes that aren't always visible to the outside world?
Challenging that I have faced. My God, what challenges have I not faced? I mean, honestly and truthfully, when I graduated from college, I went straight into my first play, right, literally the day after graduation. And then that same year, I did another show and I got my equity card. That's your actor's equity card. So I'm a part of the stage union for actors. And I got my first agent at this really great agency called Gersh. And I was just like getting auditions and auditions and auditions and auditions. And it took me a while before I booked my first show, TV show, but I would say the challenges is it's hard because then COVID happened and everything shut down. And then now that it's coming back up, sometimes it seems as if the industry isn't really taking a chance on new talent, on new faces, if you're not a name already, or I don't know, maybe if you didn't graduate from one of the big schools like a Yale or Juilliard or something, sometimes it seems as if it's so much harder to get your foot in the door. Um, it's often feels like I'm advocating for myself. Even sometimes with representation, it's like, come on, like, help me, please. So and then I'm Black and I'm a woman and I have an accent, which I can switch out of, but still, it's so much. And that's why it's so important that we create our own work. Shout outs to your podcast. Because you really can't sit down and wait on Hollywood to give you nothing. You just have to do your best and not sit down and wait for the phone to ring because sitting down and waiting for the phone to ring will drive you crazy. You just have to go out and put foot to pavement, write your own thing. Oof. This is really hitting me right now because I have some writing that I need to get started on and I have been putting it off and I'm like, I guess I'm talking to myself right now. Right?
It's time.
It's time.
Let's talk about that then. One of the things that, I've come to realize when you are behind the scenes, right? When
Yeah.
you are creating,
Yes.
you better understand the business. It's one thing to create. It's one thing to create on someone else's dime. There's another to create when you're putting your money into it and it may not land, or you have to really have a focus lens on what the long term looks like to keep you going.
Funny.
Tell me about writing and producing. Like, what's something people don't realize? What's the pros of that? And I wouldn't say cons, the lessons and the opportunities from putting your resources behind something.
You know, people don't know, God, where to start because I will say one thing, glory to God. Lots of the films that we've done together, my husband and I, because we create work together like films and such, we've gotten grants. But we've also used our own money, mainly him. And people don't realize that it costs a lot of money. Okay, so Ryan Coogler, Fruitville Station, that movie was a low budget movie. Low budget movie, right? That's what they always say. They're like, oh, we did it for like two shoestrings. Nothing. Shout out to Kugler. I love him. That movie was $1 million, probably plus $1 million. And that is low budget in Hollywood, right? So we create work on indie level. And our last film, the budget was about $50,000, mostly from grants and different things that we were able to put together. People don't realize that it takes time, effort, a lot of allocating, having to know where every single penny is going. And then all of this comes back around to you in tax season. And they think that it's just so easy because a lot of the times they just see the end product or they see the cute, fun Instagram stories of behind the scenes. But to make your dreams come true, you really have to put money out there most of the times, and not all of the times, because you can't just make a quick look at like just for funsies. But if you're really trying in this industry, in this very trying industry, and you want to put something out there that looks good, you have to find a way. And I don't know, you need good people on your team. That's all I can say. You need good, trustworthy people on your team who see the vision. As long as they see the vision, it'll all work out.
I love that. I love that. So, take us not a step back, but we're going to do a lateral step to talk about, self-care. We're going to talk about hobbies, because what I'm hearing is, there's the creative side of the brain, and then there's that more analytical side of the brain.
Yes.
And to get that creative thing going, there's a level of freedom and relaxation that you have to have. But as someone that's right now working on an indie level, there's a lot of business that you have to think about, like you said, allocations, communicating with teams that may knock you out of flow. How do you stay creatively charged up?
Honestly, I want to say, and this is where I have to bring in my husband because we do everything together. I want to bring him in and say his mind is like the analytical mind. Like, he's also a creative too, but he is so good with numbers, with figuring things out, writing those grant proposals, all of those things. And then I guess you could say I'm like the woo, and he's like the
You need both.
and it works. And so it's having a team, having people in your corner, family who will cheer you on and pray for you, staying grounded and rooted in knowing that it's supposed to be fun. If I weren't having fun, why would I be doing this? Like, why would I go into this industry? Why would I still be in this industry? It's not like I don't have to. I just really, really want to because I enjoy it and I love it. It's so much fun.
I love that. I'm thinking, this is something I talk to professionals about, that corporations or young
Okay.
entrepreneurs,
Okay.
about just protecting your peace, even with the people that love you most. Sometimes, they may inquire about things that are in the process and they don't mean any harm, but
They don't.
we have to love them for who they are, but
Yeah,
also sometimes keep them at arm's length.
I
How do you manage that? Like, just knowing that you're like bubbling up with excitement because something that you're working on and wanting to share it with someone, but
yeah.
also saying, not right now because they're going to kill my vibe.
Okay, I don't tell anybody anything. I'm somebody, if I have an audition, I don't tell anybody unless it's the person who might be reading with me in the audition. If it's a self-tape, I don't talk about it because I don't need to. And then sometimes I think I'm like, I don't exclaim it to the internet because I don't know who's watching and what type of badness they might try to wish on me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't tell family members because then they'll be like, well, what happened? And most of the times you're not going to get cast, So I don't want to be like, well, it was a no again. I don't have time for that. So when the great things happen, I'm like, hey, guess what? This thing happened. If it didn't happen, if I didn't get the role, then I don't got to worry about telling anybody. And then I journal. I love to write. I love to journal and do my little thing because I don't have to answer to anybody but myself. Yeah, that's how I keep them here. And I think at this point, the people in my life know because I let them know. I don't like to just talk about every single thing that I'm doing. I like to wait until it's finished or until, I'm at that nice juicy spot where nothing can stop me. Like it's a certified yes before I say anything. And a lot of the times people think that you're up to nothing and they don't know you're doing so much. It's just that you're not sharing it with them. You don't have to.
Well, they should know better. When a go getter is a go getter, they always up to something.
They always up to
The
something.
the
Come on.
quiet part should be the loudest part. They should know you working.
Exactly.
I love that. Going back to project work, is there a project or even a scene that felt like deeply personal to you, even if it's something that you didn't
Ooh.
get cast for, or maybe it's something that you wrote? Is
No,
it that mirrored like a lived experience that you have, or help you process something in a new way?
oh my God, there was this thing that I auditioned for. It was this short film, and I remember being so annoyed with not getting the role because I poured my heart out in that scene. It was dealing with a family member who was sick, and my sister was sick at the same time. So I just gave it all, just like it was just like there. And they called me back like 4 or 5 different times. I was like, to do the same traumatizing scene, and I did it every time. But we're not even gonna go into that. But that was something for me where I brought myself to that. I brought, like we spoke about earlier, I brought me and what I was dealing with personally to that role. There have been fun things. Almost all the roles that I play in productions that I do, that I'm a part of producing and working on, have a little bit to do with me and what a little bit. And yeah, did I answer your question properly? I hope I did. Okay, good.
More than enough. More than
Okay.
enough. Another question I have is, are there any stories or characters, we talked about it a little bit earlier, that that you feel are still missing from mainstream narratives?
Yeah, I think, well, this is obvious. I think the everyday Jamaican is missing from.
Let's go into it. Let's not breathe. What does that look like? The Jamaicans you see on screen versus what the everyday Jamaican looks like.
All right, so a lot of the really great television that I see featuring Jamaican people is done by like BBC abroad in England, and there's this one show called Dreaming Whilst Black, and it was fabulous. But then again, that's the Jamaicans abroad. I would love, 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 love to see a Jamaican story, and I think one is actually being made about just the everyday Jamaican that, like, who I used to be, a little girl going to school, going to prep school. I mean, maybe it's up to me to write it and produce that. But that, or talking about, I've been thinking about, there's this thing in Jamaica we have called Boys and Girls Champs, where you know how Jamaicans really dominate sprints. So we are running from we walk. Like the minute you start walking and going to school, they're teaching you how to run. And I think a documentary or something about that would be great. A lot of the times when I say people from Jamaica on mainstream television, if they're in Kingston or whatever, it can be like, oh, bad man or something like that. But what about the people in the country, in the rural areas where it's so beautiful and there's so much culture? A lot of the deep African culture that's still in Jamaica is in those areas, and you don't really see those being highlighted. That's why I like to write down some of the things my mother says, or like my sisters when they're saying things that I didn't really hear growing up because I grew up in the city, but they grew up in the country. I like to keep those things in mind because I would love to see that beautiful, beautiful culture showing that connection to our African ancestry on mainstream television.
I love that. What connection do you feel needs to be made in Black American culture that starts to connect the dots in regards to some of our shared experiences, even if they're not one to one? Because I think that
Yeah.
is something that I'm seeing in mainstream media where, Afro beats hit the scene, and
Mhm.
then you kind of get that bridge between a hip hop culture.
Mhm.
Top Boy, let's go and watch that on Netflix because we can see that that may be a connecting point.
Yeah,
Where do we need to make that bridge for people to care about it?
I already know. I already know. So when I was in college, some of my closest friends, and to this day, like my girl Tati, are from the South. Are from the South. Southern people and Caribbean people are like this. We're the same. We're the exact same. From what I have noticed. And of course, differences are there, but it's so similar. The way we talk to each other. You know how they're like, oh, Southern people, they're so nice. Oh, good morning. That's how Caribbean people are. That's how it is in Jamaica. You walk past the neighbor, good morning, good afternoon, whatever, good evening. It's all about manners. It's all about, respecting your elders. Sometimes I'll look at the food. I remember I saw this thing online. It was like a Southern person was saying that this was like a delicacy for them.
What was it?
It was 2 slices of white bread, this sausage cut in
A
half.
hot link, yeah.
Yes. And some sauce, I think, or whatever. And I was like, ate that for breakfast every morning. Like 2 piece of white bread, 2 piece of hard dough bread. It was one of my favorite things. We do use like frankfurter, just like the sausage, and you fry it up, and some egg. But I like to add some nice ripe plantain.
Take it up a notch.
As a child, that was my favorite thing. And I'm like, oh, that is very similar. So I think that connection, like imagine a show. Oh, I had an idea. A show or like a movie about a Jamaican person who came to the US and they moved down south and then they meet somebody or something somewhere. They just start talking about that. And I think there's some things too, probably that I don't really know too much about. Maybe culturally and related to our African ancestry. That's probably so similar that they do down south, but I haven't been down south that much to really know, but that's a journey that I would love to take.
And it's one that I would love to hear. I think to your point, when people think about a culture, when they think about, Black American culture, a lot of it is dominated by the Northeast region. And then
Yeah,
LA,
true.
of course, as
Yeah.
well, that is very capitalistic in
Hmm.
its nature because things move so fast. But, people forget
Hmm.
about most of the country is in the middle of the country or down south,
Yes.
and those values are still intact. Like you said, it's
Yeah.
more about family and
Yes.
togetherness than it is about I need to go and get this money.
It is, and it's so slow. It's pretty slow, and it definitely reminds me of the country parts of Jamaica where it's slower.
I need this story that you talked about because I see it now as well. Especially, I think New York is a good case study for it
Ooh.
because it's a melting pot. I'm from Philly. Philly, for the most part, is predominantly African American from the South.
Mhm.
New
Mhm.
York is like everyone. And I think to your point, even that, like, hey, I feel like Jamaica is being Americanized. It's like really like westernized, if anything. And I think people, I know even from my family, my father is 73, which is crazy. Yeah, an old man. Um, and just thinking about their generation, a lot of those connections that you see in the South, you could have made those connections in the Northeast just one generation ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Because my husband's grandparents, they were from Alabama and
Literally, my family is exactly the same. Alabama
really?
and North Carolina. Yes.
Yes. And on his father's side, his grandfather was Jamaican, but his grandmother, she was born in Brooklyn to parents who are also, I believe, from the Carolinas. So it's a little bit of everything, like you said, right there, one generation.
We're all losing it, but we have to get reconnected to it. So I'm
Yeah, and I think
excited
it'd
to
be
see
so
it.
beautiful.
It sounds amazing to me. It sounds amazing to me. So I guess since we're talking about creative process, like what does that look like for you? Do you have any rituals? Are there any questions that you ask yourself? Like how do you center yourself storyboarding? Like what does that process look like when you're trying to create something?
I love to write. I don't like to really do things on the computer. Maybe a Pinterest board here and there, but I love to write out things physically. I start to think about what I want to see and what I find interesting, and then what I think other people might want to see. But I really do, and this might be selfish, but I like to create from my idea of like, what is it that I want to see? Like, what I want to see. Because then if it's something I actually care about, then it'll be fun while I'm doing it. So keeping that in mind, asking so many questions, asking who are these people that I'm talking about, um, names, because I think names have meaning, have such great meaning, and I like to name my characters people who they remind me of, or a name that has a specific meaning to describe them. And I like to be in a okay. I like to be in a very beautiful space. I need to be surrounded by beauty that inspires me, that calms me, and I need a cup of tea always.
Any type of tea in particular?
It depends on how I'm feeling that day, but I have a lot of bush in the kitchen, like the Guinean weed and the mint and this that family brings from Jamaica. And I like to have maybe some green tea, or I love a nice cup of fever grass tea with a dash of mint. Oh, fever grass, in America they call it lemongrass.
I know lemongrass. Okay, cool,
Yes,
cool, cool.
yes. It's so good. It's so good. It just relaxes the soul. I promise you. Try it. You'll love it. I bet you'll love it.
I've had lemongrass. Yeah, I might have some in my kitchen,
With
which
the
is,
mint. Put the mint.
but I gotta try with the fresh mint. I'm
The
assuming
fresh mint. Yes, not the foolishness.
we'll do that. We'll do it. Is there a linear fashion in which you do the things that you describe, or do you just kind of go with what you feel inspired by in the moment?
Well, my shower first. I didn't say that. I like to have a shower first. I like to just clean myself off, and then I will make my tea. I will go into my very beautiful quiet space if it's just me and, not anybody else. And maybe sometimes, I put on like a vinyl, some jazz, something really low, and just have that going. I might do that tonight, honestly.
Do you have any? I wouldn't even say. It's making me think about my mom when she writes, right? And sorry, mom, for telling your business. Don't get mad at me. Like when she has an idea, she stops everything that she's doing
Yes.
and goes in her room, closes
Yeah.
the door, and
As she
and she
should.
won't leave until it comes and it goes.
Mhm.
It's almost like divine inspiration. That's how she looks
Yeah.
at it.
Oh
And
my
then I'm
gosh.
thinking about like Michael Jackson and Prince. I don't know if you heard that term, right? Where he said, when Michael Jackson got an idea, he acted on it before it went to Prince.
Sometimes I feel like that might happen to me. I need to start acting a little faster. What I do too is like I'll make a voice note in my phone. If I can't really get to like pen and paper quickly, I'll just speak out. Okay, da 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 da. The story is yada 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 yada. If I'm writing a poem, I'll just be like da 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 da. Just jot it down, speak it out so that I can remember. Yeah, shout outs to your mom. I relate. She's so cool. I like that.
You so cool, mom. I love it. So, in regards to, I got to ask you a few not so serious questions, but,
Oh.
movies and film, is there anything that you've been inspired by lately that you're like, whoa, this is an amazing film? Have you seen Sinners? Tell me, I need to
You
hear your
know I
thoughts.
see in center.
What are your thoughts?
You said what I think?
Yeah, what did you think about it?
I really enjoyed it. I had a nightmare that night. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Really?
Not because I thought it was oh so scary, but because I'm a very spiritual person. Whoo, child, when that devil started reciting the Lord's Prayer, I said, but I expected it.
Yeah.
But I was so inspired. The whole time I was just watching it like came up with this idea from scratch. And it's so hard to do that. It's not easy. It's not easy because you see somebody do it so beautifully. Oh my God. Like just to do that, to come up with that idea and to have all of these connections. I'm still trying to figure out, okay, tell me if you think this is what this is. But I know, do you think the guy was Irish because Irish people had issues when they came over to America and they also faced issues? Like, what do you think that was a thing? I was wondering that.
That makes sense, especially during that time.
Yeah,
During that, because if that's set in
the
that's set in like the
film.
20s.
Yeah.
era, they were definitely facing discrimination at the time. I don't
And
know
I
if
was
that's why
wondering, I'm like, because
I
it,
don't know if that's why he selected it though. It makes sense.
there has to be a reason. I don't know why. I'm not saying that's it. I'm wondering if anybody else was thinking that.
This is the
I,
first time I've heard it.
I want to, okay, so maybe I'm just crazy.
No, you're not crazy. You need to post this and get it out there since
And
you're the only
see if
person that's
that's
thinking
it.
about it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And I haven't heard him say it in any of the interviews. So, I mean, I could be reaching. I don't know. But I'm like, there has to be a reason. With something as specific as this film, with every little thing seeming to have a specific reason as to why it is there. There's a reason that it wasn't just a white man from the South.
That's true.
And he was talking about, we're the same or something, like we're connected. I don't know what that man was talking about, but something like that. So, question
I,
for the answer?
I agree with that. There are so many different themes we could talk. That would be a whole nother conversation
Yeah, I think that will be studied in schools for sure.
for sure. Are there any other films that made you feel like how this one made you feel?
Recently, no. A film that has made me think recently. God, what have I been watching recently? I don't even know. I've been watching a lot of TV.
What are you watching?
There's this show on Apple TV called Your Friends and Neighbors, or is it My Friends and Neighbors? I think it's Your Friends and Neighbors. Brilliant. It's so good. It's so good. Oh God, I should have wrote this down because now, when you're trying to think of something, your brain goes blank. What else have I been watching? The Last of Us.
I
But I
just
haven't
watched it
seen all
last
three
night.
episodes, so don't tell me nothing. But let me talk about Your Friends and Neighbors real quick because that's the one that I'm just obsessed with right now. It's so good. It reels you in because I personally, when I write, I like to have comedy in everything, like a little bit of comedy here and there because that's what life is. To me, I laugh about almost everything, and I think laughter in everything is like a little bit of sugar. It's always nice. So I love when I'm watching something that is serious and I get a little chuckle. And Your Friends and Neighbors, I think it's like a dramedy. You seen it?
No.
You must. You must. It's so good. It's so good. It's so real.
I,
And that show has inspired me and has made me feel inspired to want to write and want to create and want to be in the room where it's happening. But I guess Sinners is really the biggest thing these days.
he deserves every award. All right, last question in this space. You have 4 shows. If you can only select 4 shows, it's across genres. It can be animated. It can be a long series. You only get 4 shows that you get to watch for the rest of your life. What are you selecting?
Well, that's so easy because I already do. I don't really watch a lot of new things. It's once in a while.
This is everything. So this is easy.
This is so easy.
I'm listening.
Avatar: The Last Airbender, number one. It is storytelling. Are you kidding me? What? People sleep, but the real ones no. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Well, maybe this isn't as easy as I thought it is. The Golden Girls. Love them little old white women. They are hilarious. I've seen every single episode maybe 12 times, and I will continue to watch them. If it's something that I'm just letting you know, if it's something that I have to watch over and over again, it has to be funny. It can't be traumatizing because the world is already so serious. I can't deal with that in my entertainment for too long. It's too much. I get stressed out easily. So Avatar: The Last Airbender, my girls, the Golden Girls. I love Girlfriends, even though they did not give me an ending. So Girlfriends is number 3. Let's see who number 4 is. God, now I have to think. Wait, I know this answer. Oh my gosh, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Are you kidding me? Yes, I love just thinking about it makes me laugh. Wait. Oh my gosh, wait.
What did you miss?
World, Living Single. It has to be a TV show. Okay, yeah, those, yeah. Wow, oh my gosh.
All right, one more question.
Wait.
One more question. Go.
Go.
No, you got it.
I'm
I
gonna
won't
say
forget.
Harlem. It's such a feel-good watch. Okay, I'm done.
What character on TV or a movie do you feel best describes who you are?
Me?
You, Amanda.
Character on television. TV show, right? Not a film.
It could be a film.
Oh, it could be a film. Let me see if I can find anything in here that describes who I am. This is hard. I gotta.
You got it?
Feeding in my film, The Sound of Southside.
Mm.
Really best describes who I am.
And tell us about Afeni real quick.
She is young, she's tenacious, she is an artist living in Queens, loosely based off me, so that was too easy. I should really think of something else. And she's a go-getter. Oh my gosh, and she is determined to follow her dreams, make those dreams come true no matter what anybody says. They can't stop her.
Where can we find the film?
You can find the film on Amazon. Actually, I think we also have it on Apple TV. Can I give this information to you? Because remember, we took it down a little bit and then we put it back up. So I need to remember exactly where. But can I give this to you? You can put
Absolutely. We're going to link it in the bio, guys.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. So last question before we go, what kind of legacy are you trying to build? If it's not for yourself, but for those who come after you, what do you hope people feel when they see your work? And how do you want to make things easier for those who come after you?
I don't like you. I want people to see me and know that they can do it. I want people to be inspired. And to tell their stories, whatever is important to them. And I just want them to see me as my work, see me as somebody who just tried as best as she could. And I'm hoping one day they can say, wow, she got all those things that she said she wanted.
And I think we're all excited, and I'm personally excited to watch that journey.
Stop.
And to help tell that story. You're amazing. Not only you're amazing in terms of your talent, but your heart. And I personally appreciate you taking the time to even have this conversation.
Of course.
We'll be sure to link all of your social media and
Yes.
the film in the bio.
I'm here looking like Viola and Fences, child.
Let's get you an award. And as always, we do hope that this conversation sparked a new idea within you.
Yes.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.